The Mastering Local Marketing podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing. Here's your host, Matt Hansen.
Mastering Local Marketing, episode 55, and we're going to do it in two parts. That's because we all make mistakes, and then we continue to repeat those mistakes. And as a small to medium-sized local marketing company or firm, you're probably making the same mistakes over and over, and that's what we're going to try to avoid with these two episodes. Matt Hansen.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on these mistakes today because I'm seeing them over and over and over again. I'm having conversations every single day, and they're just recurring. So take today and take the next podcast and really kind of absorb them. We're going to cover 8 different things and hopefully go into a little bit of conversation and detail in regard to them. But, again, same mistakes over and over again. I think today we just got to realize we got to own them and make sure that we're not doing them in repeated fashion.
One of the things about doing this podcast is we're sitting here, and I've got, I think, 5 or 6 people working out there on my digital streaming sports company, and we have instituted many of the things that we talk about here, and it has streamlined our operation. We're operating much more efficiently, a lot more AI, and a lot more paying attention to monitoring and having a strategy. And I'll be straight with you guys right up from front. We built this thing. We're a startup. We were just all into operations and building it. And you got to put a 2-shot in there when there you go. And there you go. I'm directing from the floor. It has been chaos for 4.5 years. And now we're trying to put in systems. But when we start looking at our systems, we realize that we're doing the same thing over and over wrong. And one of those is at the very beginning of not having a strategy.
Right.
And that is, I think, one of your main pet peeves.
Yeah. Too often people just go out there and they start posting content or they run an ad and they don't really give a whole lot of thought to it. And the problem with doing that is they just kind of spray it everywhere, see what sticks, and then realize that nothing is happening and they cut it. And, they'll put something on Facebook and then they're over on TikTok and then they're over on Instagram and they're trying something with Pinterest because they watched some video. And really what they're not building a strategy behind it, right? So we've talked about it in the past about the post system, right? So understanding people first, right? Who your target market is, your avatar, however you want to define that. Building your objectives, your strategy, and then picking the technology where you're going to be. But what we're saying here is many times, and I see this is where most of my clients come in. We've advertised, it hasn't worked. And then I say, okay, well, what are you doing? Can you kind of walk me through the strategy? Well, we put together a video. We put $100 out there for 2 weeks, and we didn't get any followers. We didn't get any revenue coming in. We didn't get anything. We didn't see anything. And then you start to ask them, well, what was, walk me through the strategy here. What was it that you're doing? Well, we posted it on Facebook. Okay, that's not a strategy. What are we looking at? Can you walk me through it? So I literally walk them through and say, okay, let's talk about the target audience. Who are we targeting? What is the offer? What is it that you're trying to get out to them about your business? And you start to see a disconnect really quickly, right? They've pulled some imagery, some video snippets that they've been able to do. They throw an offer out there, and then they launch it for a week, and they see no results. I've had this same conversation 3 times this week. Okay, and it's Thursday. Okay, so what I'm saying is this happens over and over and over again. And really what you just need to do is sit back and go, okay, let's develop a plan before we do anything. Just because they gave you a voucher for a free $100, don't just go out there and throw it out there and see what sticks, right? Sit back and go, all right, how is this going to go? So walk yourself through the whole process, right? So somebody sees your ad. What is the ad? Is it an awareness ad? Are you trying to sell them something right then and there? This week alone, I've had people that have come to me and said, well, we're trying to generate awareness. And then I also have people that are trying to sell a $120 offer to cold traffic, right? Again, I sat them down. I said, well, what is the process here? So I went through it. I said, let me see your ad. I looked at their ad, for example, the $120 offer that we're talking about. I said, let me see the ad, looked at it. I said, okay, we go from this ad to where? We go to this landing page. I said, well, the landing page shows that the offer is valid for dates that are right now and last week. Well, they're running dates. I said, well, the landing page doesn't say that, right? So there's an issue already. It's the consistency going from ad to landing page. They're not matching up. I said, where is it going? Well, it's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. Okay. Who are we targeting? Well, one of the questions was, well, we'd like to target high schoolers. And I said, okay. Are we targeting high schoolers or are we targeting parents? Well, we can go as early as 6 years old. I'm like, well, you can't target 6-year-olds on social media. They're not allowed to be on social media. 13 is the youngest that they should be on social media. I said, so there's issues there, right? So there's all of these conversations that we really have to have and to understand from point A to point B and the offer and everything that goes in there. But then what we see is we get this kind of messed up system.
Is it really a system?
It's not, but well, quote unquote system.
Scattered tactics.
Right. And then all of a sudden now it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's on, like they're putting it everywhere. And it's a broken system, and you're wondering why it's not working. And you put it out there for 2 weeks. I don't get anything. Probably aren't measuring the right things in the first place. So what I'm saying is calm down, take a step back, and go, all right, I have to think through from point A to point B as a consumer. Right? I had another client I was talking with recently. They get the ad. They come over to the landing page. It was a form. You fill out the form. If you fill out a form, that's a commitment, right? Seems like a commitment. These people are looking for information. So now I'm putting in my email address, my phone number, my contact information, right? That's a commitment. Maybe they're not comfortable with giving that yet. And it's kind of a sensitive area of this client that I was dealing with. So again, you've got to provide some information up front, maybe another link to go back to find out more information, questions, answers that they're looking for. So it's a whole strategy from point A to point B, but just because you build an ad, you throw it out there and you throw it into multiple places, you're not seeing results, it's probably not the platform, right? It's probably not the social platform that you're putting it out on. It's the fact that you didn't think it all the way through.
All right, so let's go back to that moment.
Yep.
The HVAC or the lawyer, or let's just look out our own window, the paint store down there. There's a counseling center. I mean, we're on a major thoroughfare, and if you happen to be watching it and not listening, you see the cars and the trucks going by. But there's businesses up and down here, and they would all be, hopefully, would benefit from this podcast. But I'm just going to use the paint store. Okay, it's an independent paint store.
Right.
Okay, they sell all different ones. So I know I've seen the guy in there. I don't really know him, but he knows paints really well, and he opened up his own, and he sells to a lot of the other tightly held group of painters who only want to go where the guy really knows his stuff, right? So he has that, but he probably doesn't know much about marketing, if at all. So he catches this podcast, and he's like, what post, people, objective, strategy, technology? I mean, it can be overwhelming for the small to medium-sized business or the person even in the marketing department to come up with this overarching strategy. What do you say to that person that's overwhelmed and frustrated about where to even start?
I had this exact question yesterday. And what I told him was, start with your people, your target audience. So he's a paint store, which means that he's probably dealing with homeowners, landlords,
other painters,
right? Yeah. Businesses. So that right there, there's 4 different people, 4 different avatars, target markets that you can go after. So when you look at that, you say, okay, homeowners. The question that typically comes from a homeowner is color, texture, right? Quality of paint. I don't want to have to paint again, right? I want to do it once and forget about it. From a business standpoint, something commercial grade that's going to stand up to the wear and tear that you have with people coming into your business all the time. Painters, discounts, how cheap they can get the paint, right? What are the resources that you're going to give them? One of my close friends is a painter. Are you giving out free merchandise that they can go out there? They love wearing the t-shirts with your name on it, right? Those types of things. So there's all these, and you can go back to landlords, right? So landlords don't want to put a ton of money into paint, but they want something that's durable, that's going to stand up at least for the 12 months that somebody is renting for, the property. So again, there's 4 different areas, but then you start to go, all right, those are my target audiences. What's the objective, right? Am I trying to sell paint? Am I trying to generate awareness? Is there a new paint line that I have? Is it an educational format that I'm trying to educate people as to different types of paints and all these other things? Like, there's a million different ways you can go with paint, and I've seen some pretty elaborate things from my painter friend that I never knew you could do with paint. How far do you want to go with that? So you have to kind of pick that strategy as well. And then you go, okay, well, if I'm going after the homeowner, I'm probably not posting on LinkedIn because that's more of a business platform. But something on Pinterest makes sense because my wife has pin boards of everything that she wants to do to our house, right? So you could do something there from a, maybe if you are talking from a business standpoint, maybe LinkedIn does make sense. So you just got to understand you can go within a certain amount of radius around your business. You have to see what the platform is that you want to be on. What is the messaging? Does it make sense on that platform? And you just pick one. Just start with one. And I think everyone starts with everything, and they want to just kind of do a shotgun approach where they shoot it out there and whatever sticks. But what we're saying here is slow it down, think about it, and walk yourself through that post method, right? Understand your target audience, your objectives, strategies, and then pick the technologies of where you're going to advertise.
So let's use that word post. I'm going to use it in a different sense. Post is the Matt Hansen method. People, objective, strategy, which technology are you going to use? We have a number of businesses in this area, and I've seen this recently. They've been doing this hard, and 2 of them are very large, and they are boosting their posts.
Right.
I took your MBA classes, so I know how you don't want people relying on boosted posts. And why is that?
Well, realize when you boost something, it's on your feed. Boosting is fine, and what I tell people is take the content that is on your feed that has the most engagement, the most views, whatever it may be, and boost that content, right? Because obviously, it's already getting a significant engagement. What we see, what you and I see a lot, is everyone just boosts everything, and they don't really put any thought to it, and that's their way of advertising. And what you have to realize is there's kind of 2 ways that you can do it. You can boost posts, but then you can create your own ads. You can create videos and just general image posts and carousels and all this other stuff on Meta, but you can control a lot more. You can go into what's called the ads manager, and a lot of small businesses don't know that that's even there, right? You have the ability to do a whole lot more in there and create all of these different ads. And in reality, you have all these really cool AI tools in there. You have the ability to do A/B testing, which I know you love. But you can throw a bunch of different ads out there, a bunch of different audiences, and see what sticks. And then from there, you boost, when I say boost, you put more money into the ones that are working and kill the other ones that aren't. So you could go out there and create, $5 a day ads all day long and create 3, 4, 5 of them and see which one is clicking, right? And then kill the other 4 and just continue with that other one and raise the price, right? Keep putting more money into it with a budget. So I guess what we're saying is boosting is fine if it's content that has a lot of engagement. If you're just boosting just to boost things, don't do that, right? Like, go back into your feeds and see what is, what people have engaged with. If there's something, we had Summer on weeks ago, and she had one video on there that was, I think it was like 1 million plus views on this video, and she took that and boosted that on a local level because it doesn't make sense. She's a local business, so she boosted it on a local level. And I think I saw it recently. It's through the roof, right? So it's done really well. But on the same sense, most of my clients spend most of their time in Ads Manager, paying, testing different audiences, testing different ads. The agencies that I work with will send me 8, 9, 10 different ads, and they'll say, here, put all of these up and test them. Or they want to test different audiences, or they want to test different cities versus cities, right? So I have some campaigns that I just recently set up where it's, one is in this city, one is in this city, one's in this city, and they're tailored to those cities, but then they don't overlap over the others. And we're testing the content, we're testing the area, we're testing the audiences. So there's all of these different things you can do. But I think sometimes, and I promise I'm not pointing fingers, but I think sometimes as human beings we get lazy and we just boost some things and we're like, let's see how that works. And
yeah, well, from a UX standpoint, from a user experience, you could tell when someone's doing that. Yeah. And I don't know about you, I'm like, come on, man, you don't have to hit me over the head when I'm just going on to see, what my buddy's golf scores were. Yeah. And all of a sudden, every one of them is just a repost and a repost. And it's all you're doing is going in there and spending $200-$300 at a shot. And to me, it's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same ad too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And quite honestly, if you weren't getting the engagement beforehand, you're not going to get the engagement when you boost it. So I don't know. It's just me. But
let's talk a little bit about, once again, we're going to do this in 2. This is episode 55, 8 marketing mistakes that you keep repeating. We went through spray and pray messaging. We've talked about over-reliance on boosted posts. Now we need to get to more of the numbers part of it. What fundamentals do you like to look at for your website?
Oh, for a website, I think many people will post they'll upload their website and they forget about it. And many people are on WordPress, and WordPress needs to be updated because there's all these updates that come through, right? You'll get an email and say, hey, certain plugins or whatever need to be updated because they're not updating automatically. What I see most often is people don't update things. Site speed starts to slow. People go to your website. It takes forever for something to load. It is the number one death of a website. Nobody's going to come if it takes forever for something to load, right? We are instantaneous in our society. I was reading an article this morning about quantum computing and how fast it is and where we're heading in the future and all these other things. If you think we're fast now, wait till we get there. But what I'm saying is, from a website point of view, site speed has got to be quick. People are not going to wait like it's 1994 for an image to load at this point. So keep things quick. Do whatever you can. Use whatever plugins you can on the back end, but don't overload your website either. So I know, people are in WordPress and they're like, oh, I'm going to put this plugin and this plugin and this plugin. Next thing you know, you've got 40 plugins installed, and all of that has to load when your website comes up. So,
mobile too.
Mobile too, without a doubt. So there are still people out there today that have websites that aren't mobile friendly. Google doesn't look at your desktop website anymore. They look at your mobile website. So if you are not mobile friendly, if you're not quick, you're not mobile friendly, you're never going to be, friends with Google, because that's what they're looking for at this point. So, site speed, how it looks on mobile, user experience. You mentioned it earlier, right? So I come to your website, I can't find things, or what's worse is I've noticed recently a lot of websites where you go on your phone and you can't, things are in the way. You get the pop-ups and I can't X out of them because the X is off the side and it's not mobile friendly. So you get these little subscribe, enter your email for a discount or whatever, and I can't get out of it. I actually have to reboot the website to see things, right? So if you're not testing your website on mobile on different browsers, right? There's multiple browsers out there that you can use. See how people are seeing things, because user experience is huge. They're not going to come back. They're not going to use your stuff. And it just takes 5 minutes. I mean, you make a change, go through, look at it, see how that change has affected things. I've done that before. I've updated a plugin and all of a sudden the entire website went down. It's all over the place. Okay, now I have to go back, and start testing some different things. But, from a user experience, there are a variety of things that we can look into, whether it's the F-type setup and image-based and all this other stuff. Just realize that the more images you throw on there, the clunkier it gets. The more video you throw on there, the more automatic things that the motions, all of those types of things, it slows things down.
And once again, here we are, 8 marketing mistakes we keep repeating. Here we spray and pay, no strategy, ignoring website fundamentals, and over-reliance on boosted posts. In the next one, we're going to go through 5 of those mistakes, and we're going to start out with vanity metrics, which is my best, which is one I love. What's your CAC? I'm like, really? Does that matter here? You're talking about a scarcity thing. But anyways, we'll get into that on the next one.
That's good.
And I hope you like it. Tell your friends, and we'll see you later.
The Mastering Local Marketing Podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing.